Okay, Parshas Naso this week. We have many things. One of those which is about the Saita. So it's interesting. The whole Parshas Saita is very interesting. Here you have this woman, and the husband warns her not to be seen with somebody else. She's nister with him. Finally, that's it. You got to take it to the base. Make a drink. I mean, Akash Baruch Hu then allows his name to be erased into the water, and she should drink this water. If she's guilty, okay, she'll blow up. If she's innocent means that she didn't do the Avera. She's still in the room with another man after the husband already warned her not to. She didn't do the Avera. Oh, so now she's going to be pure and innocent, and now she'll have bracha. She'll have children if she didn't have before. She'll have different time, whatever it is. She gets bracha. Very interesting. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, b'chvoid v'atzmo, is allowing himself. His name should be erased. There's a Issa Mechikas Hashem. No, here let Hashem's name be erased into this. For who? For this woman who is not behaving herself. Obviously, her husband, if she's already seeking other pastures, the husband himself is not the greatest person to be with if she's looking elsewhere. And he warns her, and Hashem's making shalom between this couple. It's not about you. Why? And the Kadosh Baruch Hu, for who? And the pasuk says, Ish. That's the Parshas starts. Ish kisis te ishtoi. Rashi says, Ish double lashon. Mayeles b'shnayim. She's violating. She's two against two people. Oh, two. Who's the Ish? Hashem Mishpachama. Ish means Hashem. Hashem Mishpachama. Hashem the man of war, and Isha Milmata, her husband down here. I mean, you put them in the same phrase. Ish. Kadosh Baruch Hu and her husband. They're the same phrase. Ish. We don't say in benching, there's a question, you say, Kikel Melech and the Rachamot and Yalavi Avoy. You see many benches have it in parentheses. Why? Because to mention Kadosh Baruch Hu as Melech, in the bracha benching, which is Malchus based David, to put the two Malchus together, Malchus based David, Malchus Hashem, you don't put them together, it's Malchus Hashem, Malchus David. That's the question. You put the Melech in Shema Esrei. You're not thinking there's no bracha of Malchus of anybody else. So Hashem, Kikah Melech Ad Rachamot and Yalavi Avoy. And here Hashem puts his name Ish V'Chama Ish. This lady is violating against Hakadosh Baruch Hu and her husband. How can you even put them in the same line? It's Narvah. That if you see the importance of this, that means to say that the Jewish bias, husband and wife, is Makim Shashchina Shvuyaba. Because Baruch makes his Beis HaMikdash there. Yud and a Hey is Hashem's name. Ish v'Isha. Hashem puts his Shechina in a Jewish home. That means this is akin to the Beis HaMikdash. This is Hashem's home. Hashem wants to keep his home. Hashem wants to keep his home. And you see by the Mishkan, the women, they donated their Maris Etzayvos, their mirrors. For what? For Kadosh Baruch Hu's home. And the mirrors are what? Moshe didn't want to take the mirrors because the mirrors are Dvarim Shal Yetzirah, beauty. Hashem said, no, these mirrors are beloved to me, because in Mitzrayim, these women took those mirrors and beautified themselves to have children in the worst times. We have to have Klal Yisrael Vayter. And the women are giving up their mirrors for the Mishkan, which came about, according to many Rishonim, because we did the Egel. Who did the Egel? The men. The men really were the Saiters in that case. We went after somebody else, Chas v'Shalom, rather than Hashem. The women didn't, but they were willing to give their mirrors that Hashem should rest His Shechina in Klal Yisrael after the men were the ones who were off. They gave themselves selflessly for Hakadosh Baruch Hu's Mishkan. Like Hashem does for the Mishkan, where the bias is the man and the wife. Hashem says, now I'm giving myself up. They wouldn't give themselves their mirrors and their beauty. They give themselves up. Hashem gives Himself up for the bias of the man and the wife. Just, what do you think? But Lamaisi, you see, that the idea is that the house of a marriage is a man and woman's Hakadosh Baruch Hu's house. Ish v'Isha, you can create the biggest house. That means even people who did such behavior can still come back and create a Makom HaShechina. Look what happens. Hashem puts his name in, he erases it, and then this woman gets bracha. I mean, okay, if she doesn't die, but to get bracha? Why would she get bracha? Why should she be zocheh to have bracha after doing such a terrible thing? So Beis Yisrael, so brought down, says, because as bad as she was, and she was in the room with another man, the Lamaisa says she didn't do the act. She could have done something. She was in a compromised position. She could have done worse. And she didn't go that far. Okay, you get bracha for that too. Whatever amount of good we do is good. People don't realize that either. I didn't get to the next level. I stayed where I was. I didn't go down. That's also a chizuk, a gevura. Fakei get bracha for that too. But furthermore, you can say, she drank Hashem's name. She brought Hakadosh Baruch Hu's name into her system. When you do that, either she's guilty, she's going to blow up. That mess is there. Or the fact that you bring Hashem into you brings the bracha memela. So therefore, this bias that now brings Hakadosh Baruch into them. Firstly, at this moment, obviously, she's doing tshuva. First, under such circumstances, in the base of Mikdash, the holiest place on earth. And not only that, but the Gemara says that anybody should make themselves a nazir. Anybody sees a sight of a kilkula. So all those people that were witnessing this very act, all of them became Nazirim. Naziri Hashem. They walk around with the Naso HaKadosh Baruch Al Roshai. So she's instigating so many more people to have Kedusha in their own selves in the Nezer Lakov, the crown of Hashem that's adorning them. And her husband, I assume, is also part of it. It says, I assume would be a husband too. He was the one that's involved. He also comes a Nazir. He also brings a Nezer Lakim HaRoshai. From the act of this terrible deed, we see that the tshuva that comes about, David Goldberg once explained, Yafet tshuva in Ma'asim Tovim. It doesn't say Ma'asim Tovim tshuva, it says tshuva Ma'asim Tovim, because tshuva, the level you get to, not that we want people to do Averis, but the level you get to from tshuva is higher than when you started with. So what they can accomplish with all this is to bring about a tremendous amount of Kedusha that's going to come through with all of this. The importance of the bias, that means to say the ish for isha, how she has to be machshav the husband, how the husband has to be machshav the wife. Now if they realize they have a home, they are bringing the Shekhinah into the house. Hashem is showing that to us. If we would appreciate what marriage means, they're bringing Kedusha the bias, the whole marriage would take on different... The challenges of marriage is to bring us to realize we're bringing Shekhinah to the house. The Davar Tov needs a challenge, it needs to have the other side. But if we recognize what the accomplishments are, it's a tremendous feat of bracha. It's a famous story. Shlomo Zalman, they say, over before I walked into his house, was straightening his hat and his jacket. Someone said, Rabbi, where are you going? He said, I'm going to greet the Shekhinah. He's going to his house. No, he used to eat a cookie on the way home, I heard, in the bus. Before he came home in the afternoon, someone asked him why he eats a cookie on the bus. He says, because, you get home, you might be, after a long day, you might be a little agitated, or something might be hungry, and if supper's not ready yet, who knows? There's something's on. But if I eat my cookie first, I'm not hungry. So you walk in, I'm not in a state where I'm going to be snappy. I'm ready, calm. It's the Chachma is the Chachma is an. You have many more stories where people are so in tuned to be able to be machshiv. The other one, Rabbi Levine had a neighbor who was very rich. Unfortunately, he became very poor. He became a laborer, honest halacha guy, but his wife would come every single day when the husband would come home. She'd dress up, and she'd walk out to greet him, come home, and how was the day? And Rabbi Levine asked her once, what's pshat? He was one time wealthy. He says, I don't never want him to think I was machshiv his money. I'm machshiv him. What's the difference if he's rich, if he's not rich? If I only did it when he's rich, I'm machshiv his money. No, it's the man. Show him that he's the man that's important in every position that he lives in his life. That's a tremendous siphon. The person would have the hakara. But the person can bring into the house is that he brings that bracha. It's the bias. It's a makom hashchina that people that would realize what they have. The place is in the home itself. Unfortunately, we have to run out of the house many times. People work and all these such things. But if we recognize what the house is, Tzviki Foyers once here spoke in Shavuos. He said over a story that he said from his great grandmother, Rebbetzin Zalman Bloch, and they were being killed by the Nazis in Machshmam Zayin Elul. The women and the children were being killed. So the Nazis, they rounded up the women and children, they killed the children first, make the pain much worse for the mothers. You see the children killed Nebuch. After Rebbetzin Bloch's children were killed before her in the big pit, she turns to the Nazi and says, you give me a last request. Oh yes, of course, last request. What would you like? I want to go into the grave first before you shoot. Okay, you have 30 seconds. She goes into the grave, takes some dirt, scattered us over the dead children, and she says, Rabbi Shalom, I brought these children into the world b'kedushas Yisrael, and now I give them back to you b'kvuras Yisrael. And then she was killed. An eyewitness said this, apparently she gave it over, so Tzviki Foyer said he asked his grandmother, Rebbetzin Gifter, how do you do that? This was Rebbetzin Gifter's mother. How do you do that? You just saw your children being killed, you're about to be killed, and that's what you can think of? She said, if you live like that your whole life, then you can die like that too. We always like to know who was her parents. There's such chinuch in the bias. We think some Grace Rosh Hashiva, Grace Rav, Grace Rebbe. Her grandfather was a Gvir Adi by the name of Mr. Dunash, Dennis. It's a famous story. Bechon Avasman once came to the house raising money for his yeshiva. It was the middle of the winter, slush, snow, and he didn't want to walk into the front and to go into the carpets. He walked into the back by the dirt floor kitchen. Figured, how much is he going to already ruin the floor? Knocks the door. One of the daughters answers, says, Rashiva, come on in. He stumps his feet, walks in 3 steps, wants to get a father. Father comes and sees Rashiva standing there. He says, Rabbi, what are you doing to me? You're ruining me. He says, how much could he walk on a dirt floor? You're ruining me. He says, all my life I'm teaching my children that all of our money, everything that we have is for one thing, for Kavod Hashem, for His Torah. And now the Rashiva has to walk into the kitchen on the dirt floor. It's ruining my whole chinuch. I have to beg Rashiva, please, go outside and come around the front, onto the floor, onto the carpet, with the slush and the mud and the snow. That's the chinuch that this Rebbetzin Bloch grew up with. His daughter's married to Rashivas, who tells the bias was the makom they could teach and the values of what it means, and that's the midas. And yes, the house is the place where people face the most challenges. That's where a person lives. Because Baruch put us there to grow from those challenges. But if we have the understanding that that's for the purpose of bringing the Shekhinah, that means we realize that the challenge is just a challenge. People get caught up on all these different challenges and issues here. But that's only there to bring the Shekhinah. Because we emulate Hashem. We become Chana, we become Rachim, we become Meitim, we become Merachim, we become patient. It's an avodah. It's a very difficult avodah. But that's the place. Because that's the greatest binyan Beis HaMikdash a person can accomplish. And that's much what we see from the Saita. We see from this whole idea of building in the Beis HaMikdash. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Beis HaMikdash is doing this whole thing. This woman's walking around somewhat not very nicely adorned. And Hashem's ready to do this to bring out that chashivas, because it's my house, but it's your house. That means every house that we live in is another potential Beis HaMikdash for Baruch Shalom, and the Baruch should give us to have that schus to be able to have our houses, Malei Shechina, our children will be growing up in Kedusha.